All right, good evening, everyone. Yeah, great to see you tonight. A couple of announcements before we get started, just from me. If you know or if you are a young person in our church, ages middle school or high school, so like, 11, 12 years old up through 18 or 19 years old, we have a youth camp this summer. It's an English camp. It is not an English learning camp. It's an English camp for our church or for other people in the community, from whoever they are, as long as they can kind of understand English. And we've got a team coming from America. Many of you remember Brian, my intern from many years ago in 2018. Brian is bringing his youth group from New York to lead the youth camp, so it's going to be really fun. That's in July. If you know college students or young adults ages 18 to 30, we also are hosting a university camp. That is an English learning opportunity. We will be talking about some Christian themes, but we're also going to have a lot of fun. We're doing it here at SIME in partnership with Word of Life. We've also got some friends from America coming for that camp, and so if you know somebody who might be interested in that, we'd love to have them sign up. And both of those are Monday through Friday camps. And really anybody's welcome to join as long as you fit the criteria. Krista is getting ready to board a plane and come back to me finally. I've been patiently waiting. I'm tired of eating out and tired of sleeping alone, so I told her it is time for you to come home. So she is coming back, and she's excited to be here. So she'll be with us next Sunday, and I'm really thankful for that. Got some new people serving tonight. That's pretty exciting. Really love to see that. Very thankful. And if you are interested in serving at our church, you just need to speak to one of the elders. So we've got 2 more weeks left in the James series. This is the 9th message. We're going to do 10 and 11. Actually, I'll take a break the week after that. On June 14th, I'll be preaching for a friend in Taipei. And Andrew Huang, one of our elders, will be preaching on June 14th here. And then I'll be back the following Sunday, and we'll start our series in Joshua, the Old Testament book of Joshua. Okay, and I'll preach that up until the time I leave in August. Okay, so you guys be ready for that. It's going to be a really exciting series, I think, and God's going to teach us a lot of things. Joshua is the Old Testament, well, there's many, but he is one of the major Old Testament archetypes of Christ. And so we see in Joshua's life, actually, Joshua's story is not a story about how to be brave. And that's honestly how we teach it a lot of times. It's like, oh, Joshua, be strong and courageous, but actually that's not the meaning of the story. The story is to show us what Christ did for us, or was going to do for us at that time, and now has done for us on the cross. All right, tonight we're in James chapter 5, and we're going to talk about money. All right, and I noticed a few faces are missing tonight, and maybe that's why. I'll call them later. No, I'm just kidding. Don't worry. Money is an interesting topic. I'm certainly not going to talk about giving necessarily. I really want to talk about what money does to us. All right, and that's James' purpose, because money is it's a gravity. You know what gravity is, right? It pulls us in. And money, like many other things in life, is a gravity that we rotate around. And really, there's only supposed to be one source of gravity in our life. That's Jesus Christ. We rotate around Christ. But these other things that are good things, in essence, actually can become bad things when our lives are pulled between them, And so let's maybe you're thinking, I don't have a problem with money, and Cheryl doesn't have a problem with money, right? No, you're sitting up here, you're going to get picked on tonight, so that's how it works, all right? All right. No, I think maybe we all at times have a problem with our relationship with money or wealth or power, okay? So let's see what the Lord has to teach us tonight. You all know what a lie detector is? A lie detector. So, in crime, if the policemen catch you and, they need to test your story, they hook you up to a bunch of electrodes and put things all over you, and then they start asking you questions. And what's interesting, actually, is a lie detector cannot tell truth from a lie. That's not its job. Its job is to read your body's signals. It tells, do you sweat a little bit more? Does your heart beat a little faster or slower? Do you breathe a little faster? Are you tense? And so then the person reading the results of the lie detector makes a determination, is this true or is this false, what you say? Our bodies do this all the time, right? I mean, when you get angry, what happens? Your heart starts to beat faster, right? When you're fearful, what happens? Your stomach gets a little tight, right? It's physical, right? We have these physical reactions. When you're stressed, right? You get this ache in your shoulders. You just feel, I see Frida back there trying to relax a little bit, okay? Frida, don't be stressed. I'm not going to talk about you. Well, maybe I am now that I mentioned you, all right? Have you ever noticed what happens to your body when money's involved? That's how we know it's a center of gravity. When you get that unexpected bill that you don't necessarily have the money to pay for. When your landlord calls and says, I'm raising the rent. What happens? When you open you go to the bank and run your book through the counter. I see people doing that a lot, and they quickly pull it out to look at it, right? And you can watch, actually. If you go to the bank, you probably might get arrested for this, but anyway, I do it. You watch people, and they pull that bank book out, and they relax or they tense because they don't like what they see. You open, or maybe for some of you it's digital, right? You open your app or you open your online account and your retirement savings. It's like, oh, this week the market went up. I'll be okay. Or it went down. I don't know if I'll be okay. And you get a feeling and deep in your stomach, right? Some people say, oh, I know people like this. Money doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That sounds really spiritual and nice. I don't know if I actually believe people who say that. Maybe it doesn't matter in a moment. I mean, some of us have those moments where we're like, okay, I'll be okay. But there are moments when it does matter, right? For all of us, it matters, right? So here's what I want to say. Money is not just something you manage. Money reveals what is managing you. Money reveals what is managing you. Money, wealth, power, all these things have gravity. They pull us into their orbit. All right? Jesus said, you may remember, you cannot serve two masters. You cannot serve both God and money. Why would he say that? Because he knew. He knows about this. He understands that money, power, wealth is a source of gravity that's going to compete for him. You're going to serve it. And see, this is what we think. We think that money is actually, we're not serving money, money serves us. It promises us that you can have freedom, right? You can be in control of your life, but if you've lived very long, you actually know that's not true. You end up serving money. Money is a master. That's why Jesus said you cannot serve both, because you will serve one, and you will serve money. That's why your heart drops when your bank balance goes down or your retirement account doesn't look like you think, because you're serving it and you think, oh, I've got to do something to fix this. You are a slave to that money. That money is a cruel master. It does not care about you. It only cares about more, right? More. The other master, Jesus, he's a much better master because he sets us free. He sets us free from that slavery. He redeems us. He breaks us out. His promises, he delivers on those promises. He gives us life. So we usually ask the question to ourselves. Sometimes I've been asked this a lot actually here in Taiwan. How much money do you have? But we ask it to ourselves, right? How much money do I have? James is asking us a much better question. How much of you does your money have? All right? Or how much does your money have you? Okay, so let's think about that tonight. Let's read the passage, and then we're going to dig in and see if we can find out what God has to teach us. James chapter 5, verses 1 through 6. James writes this, "Come now." That two-word phrase is actually, this is what in tone is. Okay, tone is really important. Sometimes it's hard to tell tone from like a written message or a text. Sometimes I get a message from James over here, and I'm like, oh, he must be really angry. But he's not, but we don't know tone, but I can tell you the tone here. As a parent, have you ever said this to your child, or as a teacher, have you ever said this to your class? Listen up. That's what he's saying. Listen up, all right? He's not being really kind here. He's saying, you better listen. This is really important. Come now, you rich people, weep and wail over the miseries that are coming on you. Your wealth has rotted and your clothes are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver are corroded or rusted, and their corrosion will be a witness against you and will eat your flesh like fire. You have stored up treasure in the last days. Look, there it is again, that look here, okay? The pay that you withheld from the workers who mowed your fields cries out. And the outcry of the harvesters has reached the ears of the Lord of armies. You have lived luxuriously on the earth and have indulged yourselves. You have fattened your hearts in a day of slaughter. You have condemned, you have murdered the righteous who does not resist you. This is God's holy word, and it has something to say to us tonight. All right, he says, come now and listen up. Come, you rich people, weep and wail. Ooh, it's kind of a very powerful opening there that he's really trying to get at us. So who's he talking to? Is he talking to us? Is he talking to you? Some of you are saying, well, I'm not a landowner. I'm not withholding wages from anybody, right? I mean, you're not. Well, the context is important. Who he's really talking to is this: someone who is being pulled into the gravity of their wealth or their money. So maybe it does apply to us tonight. Maybe it applies to you. He's saying you need to realize, here's the big picture of the first few verses. You need to realize the thing that you're trusting in, it's going to disappoint you. And it's not going to just disappoint you, it's actually going to destroy you. It's going to destroy you. He says your wealth has rotted, your clothes are moth-eaten, your gold and silver are corroded. Notice the verb that he uses, it's not will be, it's are. Your wealth is rotted. It's corroded right now. So the thing you have that you think is so great, it's already rotting, it's rusted, it's not worth anything. All right, he's telling them, well, it's like this. When we see someone who has nice things, someone with money, a couple days ago I took Jordan to lunch, Jordan Rahuric. We walked up to the restaurant and there was a Lamborghini right out front. And Jordan, no, I'm just kidding. He wasn't like that, yeah. No, but it's impressive. It's an impressive car. It costs, $250,000. I mean, that's nice, So you think, when you see something like that, you think that person, they're okay. They don't need to worry. They probably have a nice house. They're good. They don't have to worry about anything. But God says, actually, you're not seeing things clearly. You have a pair of glasses on that's the wrong prescription. The right prescription is God's prescription, and God says this: your view is distorted because of sin. From God's perspective, those things, if you're rotating around them, it's not bad to have a Lamborghini. I would love one, please feel free, okay? Listen, no, God's saying it's not those things, but when you rotate around them, when you're putting your trust in them, they're worthless. They've rotted. They're corroded, okay? That's what he's saying. The thing that you think is giving you security, it's like, we have this in Taiwan. It's quite common where I'm from too, termites. You know what a termite is? It gets into wood and it eats the wood away from the inside. And so you can have a beautiful house and you don't even know it's happening, and the termites are eating away all of the interior, and then one day your wall starts to fall apart. You go to nail a nail in it, and the whole wall falls down because the inside is rotted out, okay? That's what James is saying. It's corroded, it's rusted. And then he goes on to say, actually, the thing you're trusting in to save you is actually going to condemn you. He uses courtroom language. He says it's a witness against you. In courtroom trials, if you watch, I like courtroom dramas, whether it's a movie or a TV. And so a lot of times the lawyer will get a witness, right? And so I'll call Darren to the witness stand because I think he's going to help my case. But then I get Darren on the stand and he turns on me. He starts telling for the other side. So I go to the judge and I say, Judge, I need to treat this person as a hostile witness because I thought he was for me, but he's actually against me. That's what James is saying here. You thought your wealth, your money was going to be for you. It's not. It's against you. It's witnessing against you. Why? Let's dig a little bit more into the passage. Like I said, most of us are not wealthy landowners. We're not withholding daily wages from field workers. But is this true? Most of us know what it is to look at money, look at our bank balance, and feel either peace or terror, right? We've all had that experience, right? And depending on your stage of life, you may have already been through it and you may go through it again, right? I remember when Krista and I were first married and, it was paycheck to paycheck. And we didn't know if we could pay the bills every month. And that may come again one day. We don't know what's going to happen. But you think if I just had this, then my future would be secure. Then I could be in control. And that's the problem, James is saying. What did we learn last week? Your life is a vapor. Do you remember he said that? Your life is a vapor. You don't know what's coming. You don't know what's down the road. You don't even know what tomorrow is. Listen, I have to tell you, as I'm preparing the sermon this week, it's very real for me, right? I'm thinking, I have plans. I have thoughts about the future. I have a retirement account, and I even spoke to the guy who managed it this past week, and I want to say, I trust God. I want to say I'm not going to worry about the future, but I have to be honest, I get pulled in by the gravity. I get pulled in by the gravity because I think if I just could do this or have this, then I could control it. I could manage it, or it would be okay. So I'm fighting the same struggle that you are, my friends. James is not condemning planning, okay? So if you're hearing this tonight and you're thinking, oh, I shouldn't even have a retirement. I'll just sell everything and, give it all to Todd. I'm fine with that, okay? Like I said, no, I'm just kidding, all right? No. The Bible praises wisdom and wise planning and putting things in order, right? We're supposed to take care of our family and take care of our all those things. But the question is not, do you have something? The question is, does that something have you? All right? That's the battle, right? That's the fight that we're all in. Wealth and power, listen, wealth, money, and power are tools that God gives us to manage. All right? And it's really interesting, right, isn't it? Like, we look around the world and we see lots of people who could care less about God, and they get lots of stuff to manage. Right? They're very wealthy. They have lots of resources, and they get to do things with those resources, but they don't care about God at all. And then we look at Christians, maybe even some of you in this room, and you have very little to manage. And I don't have an answer for that, other than to say that's God's business. He decides how to distribute his resources, and that's up to him. But friends, they are tools for us to manage. That's what the Bible tells us. We're stewards. That's another word for management, okay? We're supposed to manage these things. The problem for Christians and people who are not yet Christians also is this. We take God's good gifts, like money, and we turn it into a treasure. It's a tool, but we take the tool and we make it into a treasure. What you know what a treasure is? It's something you treasure, right? I always, when I thought about this week, the movie The Lord of the Rings came to my mind. Do you know that character Gollum, right? And he gets the ring of power. And what does he holds it up and he says, "My precious." Do we do that? Maybe not physically, but I think we do. We take the things that God intended us to manage and we turn them into our precious. And when you have a precious, you hold on to it. You don't share it. You don't want anybody to have it. It's yours. Mine. Remember, he would say, oh, I can't do it, but anyway, he would just, yeah. James writes this. He says, look, the pay that you withheld, the harvesters are crying out. Who's he talking to? He says, he's actually making a couple of charges. Again, it's a courtroom, right? He's making court charges. And he says, listen, in that day, and today as well, in many places in the world, some people don't have regular jobs. They wake up in the morning, they go to a street corner, and they wait for somebody to come by and hire them for the day. They're day laborers. And so what James is talking about here is actually really serious, because what would happen is a wealthy person would go by and say, oh, I need 3 of you to come to my house today and do some work. And at the end of the day, the expectation, you pay them, because that's how they eat. That's how they take care of their family. But what these men were doing, at the end of the day, they would say, you come back tomorrow, or you work the rest of the week. I'll pay you at the end of the week. It's not right. That's not how you treat a day laborer, because a day laborer, you don't pay him on the day he doesn't eat on that day. And that's wrong. And James says, when you do that, there's a phrase that we use in English, and I think every culture has a phrase like this, no matter what language you speak. Money talks. Right? Money talks. It does talk. Do you know who it talks to? God. That's what James says. He says, that money that you're withholding, it speaks to God himself, and God is listening for that injustice. And one day, it may not get made right now, but one day it will be made right. The unjust will be judged, and those who suffered injustice will be made whole. Some of you need to hear that tonight, because you've been treated unjustly. Some of you have been mistreated in regards to money or in some other situation in your life. And you need to know that God, listen, some of you may not be Christians tonight, and you're thinking, this whole God stuff, I don't get this. Well, listen, if there is no God, my friends, then there is no justice. There's no one to hold evil people accountable. But if there is a God, then every evil deed that's ever been done will be brought to account and will be made right Isn't that good news? That's good news for me, okay? I hope it's good news for you. Well, there's another charge. It's a second charge, and I think maybe it actually applies to most of us here. All right? Maybe not. It definitely hit me, okay? He says, you have lived luxuriously. Some of you are thinking, I'm not rich or whatever. Friends, if you have money in the bank, you're doing better than 97% of the world. Okay? Now, you may not live luxuriously, but you may have the opportunity in the future, so stick this in your back pocket and let's remember it, okay? He says, you've lived it luxuriously and you've indulged yourself. And listen, the issue is not enjoying good things. God gave us good things to enjoy, like food and beauty and rest and celebration and all these things. They're good gifts from God, but again, we take God's good gifts and we turn them into treasures. Treasures. A treasure is not just something you possess. A treasure is something that possesses you. And what happens is it has gravity, okay? And you begin to bend around it, okay? I know people who, none of you, but people back in my home country, but I know people who have really nice things, like a nice house or a really nice car. And they, not many of them, but a few, those things are their treasures. And so because I worked at a church, sometimes I would call those people and say, hey, could we use your house? They've got a big, beautiful house. And I'd say, could we use your house for this meeting or this event or whatever? And they'd go, well, how many people are coming? Will there be children? You know, they cannot use their treasure because it's precious to them, right? And I know some other people who have really nice things, and their treasures are tools. They love to let other people use them. They just freely give them out for people to enjoy, right? The gifts God gives us, that's what they are. They're given to us to manage. They're not for our own comfort, but that's what we do. We use them in a way that God did not intend for us to use them. And then James says this, you have fattened your hearts for the day of slaughter. You know what he's saying there? You know, in Taiwan, some of you know about this. Every country has these kind of festivals just about, but Taiwan has some really fun ones. There's a festival up north. I don't know if they do it anymore because the animal rights people got involved, but they would take a pig, or actually a bunch of pigs, and they would feed them. So they became humongous. So the pig can't even walk. It couldn't even stand up on its legs. It's so heavy. You know what I'm talking about. And then they sacrificed the pig. That's exactly the image James is using here. The thing that you're using to protect yourself, your precious, your treasure, it's like you're stuffing yourself full and becoming fat just to be slaughtered. Just to be slaughtered. Just to be sacrificed, but not sacrificed to God, my friends. They thought that because they were living well, you know, we can think that too. Because I have, you know, enough to eat, I have a nice place to sleep, I have a nice whatever, you think it's proof of your security. And again, there's nothing wrong with those things until they become treasures. James says your abundance is making you ready for judgment. Self-indulgence makes us spiritually stupid. Let that sink in for just a second. Self-indulgence, when we just focus on ourselves, we take care of ourselves, it actually makes us spiritually stupid. And here's how it does it. Other people's needs become invisible to us. We quit caring about other people because we're so busy taking care of ourselves. We can't see what other people need or the hurts in their lives, because we begin to believe that the purpose of our money or our stuff is to keep us away from discomfort. I want you to listen. Let me say that again. We use our money or our stuff to help us avoid any discomfort in our lives. We use it to protect ourselves. When what God intended us to do was use it to bring comfort to others, even at the expense of our own comfort. You have condemned, you have murdered the righteous who does not resist you. The righteous. He says the righteous does not resist you. Who's he talking about? In this sense, he's talking about the day worker who couldn't defend themselves. They had no legal opportunity. They had no money to hire a lawyer. They had no way to go to the court. They had no social standing. But if you've been a Christian very long, when I read that verse, you might hear it a different way. He says, the righteous one does not resist you. Who's the righteous one? Jesus. He's Jesus. He's the only one, the only truly righteous one, the only one with absolute power who never used his power to exploit anyone else. He's the only one who used his wealth at his own expense to make the poor rich. He used his life to rescue the guilty. That's you and me. When I was young, there was a television show. I think some of you will remember this. It was a Western show called The Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. All right, Richard, I can't remember the guy's name, but anyway, basically this guy would go to really wealthy people's homes and make a TV show program, about how all their stuff, their jets and their cars and their beautiful house and their swimming pool and everything. And we would all sit in our 3-bedroom ranch house and be like, oh, that's great. Maybe one day I'll, no, probably not. It would just make us all feel bad, right? And the rich person is just a prideful thing, right? They would always act like, oh, I don't deserve this. But look at my 24-karat gold swimming pool, just stuff like that, just ridiculous. We still do that today, right? There's so many shows on, whether it's social media or television, the Real Housewives of wherever and all that business. It's just a bunch of junk. We can't even begin to imagine what real wealth, real power is. And there's some really powerful people in the world today, really wealthy people in the world today, Jensen Huang or Elon Musk, Donald Trump, some people who kind of, they're gravity wells. Everything rotates around them, right? People get enamored by them. And they have tremendous influence over a lot of things. Last year, we went through Revelation. Do you remember? And one of the things that we saw was John using all these different images to tell us about what heaven would be like. And the future place where we're going to live with God. You remember how he described it? Gold and jewels, everything precious, the most precious things that this planet produces. That's what heaven is. But do you know what they're used for in heaven? They're building materials. Gold. Some of you ladies have on a little bit of gold tonight, right? And it's expensive, right? In heaven, it's so common. It's the floor. It's the pavement. It's what we walk on. Pearls. Pearls are beautiful. I mean, they're gorgeous, right? You have to find the right oyster, and I mean, you pull them out of the ocean, and you know what God uses them for? Doors. They're doors. Meaningless. Do you know why? Because there's only one treasure in heaven. Jesus Christ. He is the treasure. And if you love any of those things more than you love him, you're probably not going there. The most valuable thing in the universe is not gold or platinum or Bitcoin or US dollars. It is the blood of Jesus Christ. One drop of his blood from the cross is more precious than any substance that has ever touched this earth. And he willingly spent it for you. He used his infinite resources to purchase the unworthy and make them worthy. That's what Jesus did. He loves you. I think I've told you this story before, but it's worth telling again. When Krista and I were first married, we were poor. And shortly, maybe 2 or 3 years into our marriage, I got a bill from the U.S. tax office, a big one. I had made a mistake, and I got a bill for several thousands of dollars. And it was like 4 times my monthly salary. And we lived paycheck to paycheck. So there was no way that I could pay that bill. I didn't know what to do. I mean, this is the American government. Like, they like their money, you know. And I didn't know what to do. I called my dad. My dad's pretty amazing. But I called him and I said, Dad, I got this bill and I don't know what to do. Would you loan me the money and I'll just pay you back a little bit every month? Because I thought, and it would have taken me, I don't know, a couple of years to pay him back. And my dad said, no, I won't loan you the money. I'll give it to you though. And he wrote a check and he paid the bill. And to this day, that was 30 years ago, he has never mentioned it. Not once. Never brought it up. You know, if my phone rang right now and I saw my dad's name, I would answer it. And if my dad said, son, I need you to come home now, I would walk right out of here to the airport and get on the next flight. Not because I was trying to pay my dad back. I can't. My dad has done so many things for me over the years. I could never pay him back. But because I love him. You see, that's what will change your relationship with money. When you have that kind of relationship with God, because I know what my dad would do for me. I know what he's done for me. Do you know what your Heavenly Father has done for you? If that ever really makes it down into your heart, then you will find it really easy to take your treasure and turn them back into a tool and use it to be a blessing to others. It won't have a grip on you anymore because He will have a grip on you. We're going to take some time now to actually talk together in little groups. So I'm going to ask you to break up into little groups, okay? We have a lot of newer people here tonight, so my people, if you'll help the new people know what to do, we're going to put a question on the screen, and you've got 10 minutes. And so part of the time you can talk about the question, and then part of the time I'd love for you to maybe get to know each other a little bit and then share a prayer with each other. And everybody needs to be prayed for tonight, right? Everybody came in here tonight with some kind of hurt or some problem in your life or some issue. So I want you to know we, as a church, we care about you. And so you have an opportunity now, even if you're not a Christian, you could share what you're dealing with the people around you. They will pray for you. You don't have to pray if you don't want to or you don't feel comfortable. It's fine. But we would love the opportunity to pray for you because we believe, well, we have a pretty great Father, and He can do amazing things. All right, go.